Hey guys, Stemming7 here, and it's finally that time again. We've had a great time with HRL Season 4 ever since we started it up in the beginning of May, and now we are at a close. We just finished Champ Series, and we're prepping up to go into Season 5. So, because of that, we're in one of my favorite parts of the preseason, which is the track voting period. In the description, I'm going to have a link, and it's going to go to an unlisted playlist, and that playlist will have video footage of all of the tracks in the track voting doc, which the track voting doc will also be a link in the description. So make sure you check those out. On the track voting doc, you can see the list of all the tracks for each of the categories. You can see the live update for the votes. And on the playlist, if you haven't seen or you haven't raced on a certain track, you can easily go find it in the playlist and check it out. Make sure you check out all the tracks before you make your votes. I think that's the fairest way to do it. Make sure, obviously, if you skip some tracks, you might miss one that you really like. So I wouldn't skip anything. I would make sure that I know all the tracks going in, and then make your votes. If you want to make it easy, start off with Oval because it has the least, and then go up to GP and then go up to SX. Or if you want to start off hard, do it the other way. That way you can easily start getting going with your votes. Also, you don't have to give me all your votes for each type of track at the same time if you don't want to. If you only have one type of track, your votes for one type of track decided, you can just give me those and then get me the votes for SX later, or whatever it is. You can do that if you want. But yeah, what we want to get is we want to get at least. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a max of 16 people that vote. So it's kind of first come first serve. You want to make sure, if you want your votes to count, you want to make sure that you vote very, very fast. Because if you don't, then the max votes are going to lock, and you're not gonna get a chance to have your votes really mean anything because you're not going to be able to. So the poll ends either at on August 24th at midnight, or when we hit 16 maximum people that have voted for each category. I'm hoping that we hit the 16 first, because then we can get into Champ Series voting earlier, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this video was supposed to really describe how the whole voting system works so everybody understands it fully. So let me get into that. So basically, this season is way less confusing than last season's voting, in my opinion. Last season voting was a little confusing because there were different amounts of tracks that were locked into the season for each category. So for example, you'd only vote for like 3 ovals, maybe like 5 supercrosses and 4 GPs. It was a different amount for every single one. And we also didn't do Champ Series voting, I think. Pretty sure we didn't. So yeah, last season was a little weird, a little complicated. I'm trying to simplify it a little bit for this season. So here's how it's going to work this season. You get 5 regular season track votes for all the categories, each of the categories. You get 5 for Oval, 5 for GP, and 5 for Supercross. So you go through all those, you decide, and obviously you cannot use your regular season track vote on the track that's a lock for the season, because it's a lock for the season. So there's no reason to vote for it. The only reason I have it on the dock is so that people know the tracks that are a lock for the season. But there is one other reason too. And that reason is that you also get 1 Champ Series vote as well. And you can use that Champ Series vote on the lock track if you want. You don't have to, but it's your choice. If you want to use a Champ Series vote on a track that's already locked in, you can do that, because I'm sure there's going to be such a wide variety of votes that the only way we'd end up with a short amount of tracks is if literally everybody voted for the same exact tracks and the same exact Champ Series vote, which is not going to happen. So yeah, if you want to, you're allowed to use your Champ Series track vote on the lock for the season track, or you can use it for one of the regular season tracks. And basically, you want to use your Champ Series vote on whichever track that you think's the best, the most competitive, the most fun, whatever it is. I'd advise most competitive is most likely what you want to use your Champ Series vote on. And what happens with the Champ Series votes is it works a little bit. This whole voting process works a little bit different than last season. So instead of when we get 16 people, or when we get August 24th, instead of us knowing exactly what the tracks are going to be right then and there, it's going to take a little bit longer than that. Because once the voting period ends, we're going to go into a 3-day voting period for the Champ Series tracks. So basically how this works is the track with the highest amount of Champ votes in the voting period is not going to be the winner. It's going to go on to the next round. So basically what we're going to do is the top 3 tracks with the most Champ Series votes will go into an extra round, a straw poll round, where I just make a straw poll and it's between those 3, and you get to vote for whichever one you think is the best track for the Champ Series. The reason I'm doing the Champ Series voting like in this whole round format is because like there's so many different tracks that could be good for it that it's very difficult to make your votes right now. So for Champ Series, I think it'll be a little bit better to have that extra round, and then some people will be like, okay, if it's between these 3 tracks, then I want this one, or whatever they want to decide between at that point. So that's how that's going to work, and that period will last 3 days, and that'll start as soon as the regular track voting period ends. I will get those straw polls up, and we'll go to the next Champ Series round. And again, it's the top 3 with the most Champ Series votes from each category. So top 3 GP Champ Series votes, top 3 Oval Champ Series votes, and top 3 Supercross Champ Series votes. Now, you may be wondering, pretty sure I mentioned it just a minute ago, like why we won't know what the schedule is until the Champ Series votes are done. Well, that's because there's a chance that a track that has a lot of Champ Series votes, it may have a lot of regular season votes as well, and you may be thinking, oh, well, that's kind of dumb if a track goes to the Champ Series vote, loses, and it loses a position in the season altogether because it has a lot of votes. Well, that's not how it works. Basically, what we're going to do is once that Champ Series vote is over, then we're going to go, the tracks that lose will go back into the regular season poll. We'll convert their Champ Series votes into regular season votes, unless it's a lock for the season, obviously. And then we'll go our top 5 from there. And that's how we'll decide on the top 5, the regular season tracks, along with the Champ Series track. Now, how we're going to decide the order in which these tracks are raced is going to be a little bit different than last season. I'll try to explain this the best that I can. So the slots in the schedule will be exactly the same as last season. What I mean by that is, like, let's say it's first race is GP, second race is Oval, third race is SX, fourth race is Oval, fifth race is GP. That's not what it is, but, I'm just making an example. That will stay the same. What's going to be different, obviously, is the tracks. So how we're going to decide the order of the tracks in the schedule is I'll throw the pool into random.org, the top 5 GPs, top 5 Ovals, top 5 Supercrosses, and I'll just throw them into random.org and see what order that they come out with, and then that's how they'll be raced throughout the season. Because last season, we tried to come up with the order ourselves in a logical manner, and it's like, what, it's a schedule. It doesn't really matter. Like, we can just make it random. I don't think there's an issue with that. So that's how we're gonna do that. And one last thing for this video, try to keep it under 10 minutes or at 10 minutes. So we had some criticism the past 2 seasons, understandably, for either making changes, last second changes to tracks, or literally changing a track on the schedule to a different track late in the season. Obviously, with this season and the amount of effort that we've put in with the track submission form, and how much time you have to make tracks, and just the overall overhaul of effort into forging and into tracks this season. We're not going to do that again. We're going to have the rules a little bit different. So what we're going to do is there's going to be no switches of tracks throughout the entire season. What gets voted is what's in. That's just how it's going to be. The other part is for changes to the tracks. You can still change your tracks once they're voted. That's fine. It's just going to be a little bit different this time. The new rule is that you have to have your complete final version, all tweaks done, all additions done, whatever you wanted to do, the completely updated version done 2 weeks before it is raced. That is the rule. If you have to have a version done by then. You cannot make any changes past that point, unless it's something that's literally like, I don't know, a freaking kill boundary in the track or something. That's like the only case in which, obviously there'd be a change, but I don't think anything that ridiculous will happen. So that's the new rule. Now, obviously, you may be thinking, well, what about the first 2 weeks? Well, yeah, obviously it's a little bit of an exception, because the track voting period right now is planned, unless we get those 16 votes, the track voting period right now is going to end around the 27th, which does not give that much time. for the first week or for the second week even. So for the first 2 weeks, we'll have a little bit of leeway with that. We'll give whoever's track is the first two tracks, because I don't know who created them yet, obviously. We'll give them a little bit of leeway to make changes, but they'll still have to be very, very, very quick changes if there are changes. So those will have a little bit of leeway, but from that point on, 2 weeks before, it's got to be done. So that's pretty much it for this video. Described the voting process, went through the tracks, how the voting works, how the whole system works, like this little round that we're doing with the Champ Series, the new rules that we're adding involving the schedule and tracks, and yeah, I think I hit pretty much all the marks I wanted to hit on. So that's about it. I'll end this video with one last announcement. We have the Master Chief Collection series starting up very soon. Those races will be done on Mondays at 6:30 Eastern, and I am very excited for that series, I gotta admit. MCC is an amazing racing game, and we never got to do enough racing on it in the past because we just didn't have the attendance to do it. So I am super excited to actually, hopefully get a good, solid MCC series going this time with consistent attendance, and hopefully it'll be a good show because of that. We'll actually be able to have a frickin' solid MCC series for once. Really excited for that. But yeah, Monday, August 21st, so it's coming up very soon, 6:30 Eastern. That's when we're doing those races. So that's pretty much it for this video. I don't really have anything else to go through, so hope I explained it properly, and see you next time.